It is Monday. It is Monday. Hello, and thank you for being here. And welcome back to Let's Have the Conversation. We are rocking today with Guilt is not accountability, it's avoidance, right? I'm a little bit behind on my editorial calendar. I have to be honest about that. And I was, and we'll catch up, right? Just a little bit more time together, more articles this week, and that's awesome. It also gives time to digest more things. Good morning, Ingrid. So that's kind of cool. Did you love this post? Thank you. I love that, Alvin. We are being in that darker energy, right? Going inside. That's like what I mean about, we're getting into the depths. This is the season of descent. We're going deeper into it because so much is coming up, right? And we feel guilty. We can't be there. You feel guilty about maybe you want to celebrate the holidays, right? You can't go out and protest the way you want to. You feel guilty if you could actually afford some damn coffee out there. There's just so much guilt around us. And to really recognize how that paralyzes us is super important. Good morning, Suze. So on Mondays, it is open for all, right? So we could really just like gather. Some people do not know about the work that we're doing here. So I like to do open and free on Mondays. And it is always, the lives are always in accordance with the article of that day, just to kind of bring that lesson home just a little bit more. Good morning, Lisa. I love when you call me sunshine. So how we do this here is 3 talking points with 3 reframes and 3 reflections. And I'm going to offer up those now. Let me take a sip first. Oh my God, I had some good kombucha this morning too. Have you guys had this yet? I know they ship now Witchy Kombucha. This is my besties um, line, and it's amazing. They like literally use true crystals. This is Heritage Apple Cider. It's so yummy. And my gut is so thankful. So, 3 talking points. 1, guilt feels like movement, but it's not, right? As I was talking about in the article, it gives you this feeling that you're doing something because you're feeling all of these things. But then when we begin to dismantle it, dissect it, and pull it all apart, that's just another part of the colonial Christianity that I'm talking about, right? Like, oh, I feel guilty. So there's some self-flagellation that goes. I always do that because like the self-whipping. Like we were taught, again, I grew up Irish Catholic. So, you do confession, you do penance and all of these things, but it's still just a spiral of collapse. And remember, last week we were talking about how to stay and not collapse inside a situation. So go back to last week, Monday, to hear more about that. 2, supremacy culture uses guilt to maintain the status quo. If you feel guilty about your existence, because that's really what it is, right? Even the idea, you get caught very much in the anti-racism realm. It's like, oh, I don't have any white guilt. I'm like, who wants you to feel guilty? I'm not asking you to. I don't feel guilty about who I am, who I was born. I don't feel guilty about being a woman. I don't want anybody to feel guilty about their existence. I want us to recognize our positionality inside of supremacy culture and then do our damnedest to dismantle the barriers that are created because of supremacy culture and who we are within it. That's the difference, right? So, 3, responsibility is not self-blame, it's self-alignment, right? When we say, "Oh, okay, this is my position in this space. This is what I'm feeling about it, and this is what I can do about it." That is actionable, right? And it's empowering because then you start realizing, you know what? I actually can do something. It may not be what the other person can do, but I could do what I can do. Again, the focus here in this space is personal liberation that leads to systemic liberation. There's no way in the world you could live so free, so liberated that you would align with systems that don't represent that, right? It needs to mirror inner world, outer world. Good morning, Chris, Carolyn, Jennifer, and Melissa. How are you? God, this is so good. Okay. Rub your hands. Martin each. What's going on? Get into your bodies. Take a breath, right? Because all of this stuff is heavy. This is heavy, heavy work that you guys are doing. Good morning. So just settle into it. So 1, guilt feels like movement, but it's not. Guilt gives the illusion of accountability because it's emotional, dramatic, and consuming, but it produces zero change. We have all felt guilty about something. Sue says responsibility literally means ability to respond. Okay, Sue, let me screenshot that. I like that. Yeah, it, I love that. Responsibility literally means ability to respond. I am going to sit with that. I'll, my brain is just firing now. So there's going to be a follow up with that. So thank you for that added depth. I appreciate that. So, yes, guilt gives us this illusion of accountability because of the emotions, dramatics, and it feels consuming, but it produces zero change. We've all felt guilty, right? I gave the example today in the article where, I use the accountability model that we use at home, right? The 3-step process. And the egg is really simple. It's like I broke an egg. Okay. Your ability to respond is cleaning that up. Like, what do you want to just leave it there? Oh, well, I didn't break the egg. Okay, well, the egg is broken and it's on the floor. Somebody broke the egg. Can you do it? Your responsibility now, you found the egg broken. You can respond accordingly, right? Like, are we going to just keep on walking over the egg until when? Until it petrifies, till it dries out, until somebody slips and falls. There's so many things that can happen, and it's much easier to just say, you know what? Even if I didn't break the egg is there. It's broken. I'm going to clean it up. No, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move into that and respond. I'm going to keep using that, Sue. Thank you. The reframe that I offer here is guilt is not proof that you care, right? Because I think that in my experience with this work, people, oh, I feel so terrible, right? Like oh, I'm ashamed of what my ancestors did. Oh, I feel so terrible about it. Oh, you feeling terrible about something does not mean change, right? That is something that's you. That's a you thing that you need to work through. I don't need you to feel guilt in order to do the work of dismantling systemic issues. Like, I don't feel guilty about systemic problems. I damn sure feel responsible to do something, right? As an example, you guys know that I was going through the IEP process with my son, and it has been tumultuous, right? So, my responsibility with my time and my ability is to create something that can help others go through it. And that is what I've been working on in the back end, right? Is like here, like, let's make this a little bit more seamless, right? That is my responsibility to the whole. Because if I'm going through something and I recognize that I am well resourced in the fact that I have an amazing community that could wrap around us and help us with it, and it's difficult still, then maybe we should be doing something about it. I am a solution finder. Amy says, honestly, guilt often keeps you frozen. Yes, it absolutely does, right? Because it's so self-centering and not in that healthy self-centering way. It's so all-consuming because you're so busy feeling bad about something, right? I don't feel bad that my son got an IEP. He absolutely needs an IEP. He needs that support. On top of that, I don't feel bad because schools gets $26,000 for a kid with an IEP. Act like he's paying you because he is. You know what I'm saying? That's a $26,000 seat, my friends. Act like it. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't feel guilty that he had an IEP. I do feel responsible that it was something so difficult to go through, and how can I help others go through it in a seamless way, right? Like, advocate, create something. What does that look like? And that is that responsibility that happens when you notice that there is something wrong, right? Same way if you walk into a space, I've talked about this during the 100 days of community. Like, why are our doors just not already created for wheelchairs to come through? Like, why do I have to wait until I need it? We're all going to age. And that doesn't mean that we'll all age and need assistance, but why are bathrooms not set up already? Like, why do I not have a cool little grab bar to get in and out of my tub? I could use that. It shouldn't have to cost something. It should just exist, right? Like, that is the responsibility that we have to aging people, disabled people, people who get hurt. That is simply communal responsibility. Lisa says, I'm not responsible for how my ancestors respond to their experiences. I am responsible for how I respond to my experiences. Yes. Just that simple, right? Yeah, I like that. Really clean cut, Janine. Good morning, honey bunny. So the reframe again is guilt is not proof that you care. Repair is proof that you care. Feeling bad is not the work. Taking aligned action is. Right. That is what that is about. Is turning around. And I'm not saying not to feel guilty if that's something, if that's a process that you need to go through, but feel it and name it for what it is, right? Like really what it is a grief. It's an ancestral grief. It's an awareness that harm was caused through your line, through your lineage, that even by your own existence, you have caused harm. With your own unknowing, you've caused harm. So that's really grief, right? And that's valid, right? It's valid to feel heavy about causing harm to another person, to groups of people. That is an absolutely human experience to go through, to process. But then as you're moving through that grief and that recognition and that awareness, there's some accountability and responsibility like, okay, I feel these things. I know these things. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Alvin says guilt indicates awareness, but doesn't necessarily lead to action. Exactly that. So it's like, okay, now we're spinning our wheels, right? Because you feel guilty. And again, it goes back to what we were discussing on Wednesday. Now I have to stop doing the work and comfort your feelings. And that's one of those pillars of supremacy culture, isn't it? Right? That is that right to comfort. And you don't have a right to be comfortable while other people are being uncomfortable simply by just living and existing in an oppressive system, right? The job is to turn around and say, okay, what aligned action can I take? So the reflection that I offer is where do I confuse feeling bad with doing better, right? That's simple. Like, and what repair have I avoided because I was stuck in guilt? That is a big one. So many people get so stuck in guilt, you're spinning and then you're not actionable. You're not doing anything because you feel so bad. I said this wrong thing and it's just a further way to extract you from community. I said something that caused harm. I feel so awful. How could I ever make it better? The truth of the matter is making it better is staying. That's what makes it better, right? Like staying and doing the work. It doesn't mean staying where you've caused harm because again, repair does not mean connection, but it does mean, damn, I have some awareness. I've said some really wrong things. I've done some really wrong things. I've participated in some wrong spaces, in something that's unhealthy, that's harmful. I could do better. I could do better. And knowing that you can do better, part of that responsibility, that actionable step is saying, I can do better. And how empowering is that? I could actually do better and I want to do better. So now I'm going to unlearn the things that I've learned, learn some new things, and put those actions into motion. Okay. Talking point 2. Supremacy culture uses guilt to maintain the status quo. Supremacy culture is always lurking, always. Lefty professor, I'm assuming, lefty prof, is it's similar to what they teach in the 12-step programs. There are a lot of steps after you do the moral inventory. You have to make amends. Yes, I agree. I just don't apply that lens to racism, anti-racism work, because I think for me personally, and I love a 12-step program, personally, I don't think that there's amends that could be made for the human atrocities that supremacy culture has caused. I think that we have to accept that truth, and this is my personal opinion, and still do the work anyway, uncomfortable and recognizing that amends is not always possible, right? Reparations, all of the things. There's just some stuff that just has to be accepted and just we got to do the work anyway. Oh, you agree. Thank you. But yes, 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 yes. It is similar to that, right? Like there are a lot of steps after the moral inventory. So supremacy culture is always lurking. It's always around us. Again, I've used the example before. People keep looking for the shark, right? You keep looking for the active racist. You keep looking for the active policy, right? Like, oh, this is so racist. This is so, and it's like, friend, it's not the shark. it's the water. Like, it's even the tiny little anemones in the water that's happening, right? We're all swimming in the water. It is not the shark that you will find. It's not the coral reef. Those things are byproducts of being in a whole entire ocean of supremacy culture. That is what I am saying. It is that vast. It is always around us, and we exist within it. And that is something that we have to accept. So, supremacy culture wants you stuck in internal loops: shame, collapse, fragility, self absorption, because stuck people don't disrupt power. If you are sitting there spinning, if you're just like, oh, woe is me. What can I do? This is terrible. I can't move. I can't do better. And if you are in that space, you won't do a damn thing. And supremacy culture loves you not doing a damn thing. It's like, yes, stay spiraling, stay feeling bad about yourself, right? Stay in that fragile, broken space because you won't do a damn thing. You won't move. You won't make a difference. You're just going to further excommunicate yourself. Remember, supremacy culture separates you from yourself, from community, and from the land. So if you feel guilty, if you are consumed by that and you can't move out of it, you will just stay away. And that's not the goal. We're here to build community. So, this is true. This is true individually in parenting, in workspaces, and especially in racial dynamics. That's where the white guilt comes up, right? And I hate it. I hate like guilt the way I hate the term white privilege. I'm like, there is leverage to be had. Cats everywhere. There's always leverage, right? For me, there is no privilege in having no connection to your land, your language, your indigenous practices, community, each other, yourself. There's such a stripping of humanity that comes with becoming white that I don't find it to be a privilege. Also, privilege demands that I be oppressed. White privilege demands that I not only am oppressed, but that I remain oppressed. So when we talk about privilege and shift it to the leverage lens, it is stating that you have a different positionality inside of these hierarchies of whiteness, and you could use that to assist us in dismantling it and doing the work of dismantling it. Mia says it's not the shark, it's the water. Really brings it home. Yeah, because we could just stop trying to point things out. Like, I get it, right? Like, some people are just figuring this out. So, and it's like, friend, it's the water. It's the water. Everything. It's all of the things. And it's awful because there's a stripping of enjoyment that comes from it, right? You can't watch movies the same. You can't receive conversations the same. When you really recognize it, you see how deeply coded supremacy culture is in every single thing that we do, in every single way that we show up, in our parenting, in our friendships, in our work, the way we build out business models, the way we build out education. Like, you start really realizing it, and it's like, oh my God, how could we ever do all of this work, right? And that is that feeling. That is what supremacy culture wants you to feel. Like, oh my God, I feel so terrible. I've done nothing. I've participated in this. I voted for this. I thought I was voting for this thing, but then it turned out that all of this other stuff was happening as well. Yes, that is how supremacy culture works. It's tricky. It's tricky, and it's all over, and it is absolutely self-serving. And we can do the work of dismantling it. It just means becoming actionable and doing what you actually have the capacity to do over the long haul, right? Because that long arc of liberation we talk about. Lefty says, I call it the tea we are all stewed in. I mean, yes. From how we are parented and inducted into the supremacy to how we parent. Yes, all of it. All of it, all of it, all of it needs to be dismantled. And I really think that the key to it is obviously children. Yolanda Williams of Parenting Decolonized really brought that home, right? Because I'm not going to spend too much of my time. Yes, the elders matter, but they matter, in my opinion, more for that personal connection and bringing them along for healing and what will happen again 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. But focusing and censoring liberation work on tiny humans makes so much more sense because that's the world that we're helping build, right? Like the privilege that we have as adults in children's lives, whether they're your own or communally your own, right? Every kid is mine. They all my kids. Is the privilege to usher in the world that they know exists because these kids are coming into this world bold, unafraid, unencumbered. They are really so liberated from the beginning. If we really paid attention to them, we could just focus and be like, oh, this is the world that we want to build, that they can continue to be that person, that they don't have to become something else for survival. Our world is not safe for children. Yeah, no, I agree. That is why we are trying to do the work to dismantle it because it is, in fact, not safe for children. It is safe for supremacy culture and it is ripe for the abuse of children, which we could see this week with the release of files. And I had a grand old time making fun of fellatio. But then I was like, okay, that was fun. Let's talk about teenagers that are being sexually assaulted by wealthy, powerful men. And that conversation needs to be had because we discard them, right? We are so quick to turn around and be like, oh, they ran away or they were bad, they weren't listening. And it's like, these are kids. An underage woman is a child. Like an underage boy is a child. My children that are home are 6, 9, 13. Those are underage adults. Like, this should not be a controversial take. I just don't know why it is. And we definitely need to be having more conversations in regard to that. So, the reframe that I offer to talking point two is guilt protects the system, but responsibility interrupts it, right? It goes back to what Sue said is like, it's our ability to respond, right? So that's going to disrupt that feeling like, what? Okay, there's a system in place and I have a responsibility to dismantle that, to speak truth to power, to write an email, to protest about it, to not participate in it, to remove myself from spaces that do participate in it, to create spaces that do not adhere to those sorts of ways. These are the small ways and the regular, steady ways that we could respond to dismantling these systems. Guilt centers the self, responsibility centers the impact. Last week we talked about that, right? Intent over impact and what it feels like to collapse and to be able to say, no, I could stay here. I can do this, right? It's difficult. I'm uncomfortable. And that absolutely leads to this beautiful connection. Like, you know what? I did something wrong. I feel bad for it, right? If this is a direct thing, I feel bad for it and I want to do better. What can I offer? How can I do better? Right? Especially if the person you harmed is right there. Like, how can I do better by you? What would you see as repair? Because I want to do better. That is care. You telling me that you feel bad about it is not care. It's centering. It's centering of yourself in a very unhealthy way, right? If you are talking about systemic issues, it's still the centering, right? Like, oh, I feel so bad about my ancestors. I get people that are like, God, I remember this one client that came to me and they were like, I'm leaning because they said it like it was a secret. They were like, so my family are KKK members. And I'm like, yeah. Like, somebody's family has to be, right? Like, you want to act like, y'all want to act like it's a surprise. Surprise, surprise. We know. We're talking about it. It's not, we know. We are aware. It is somebody's brother, mother, father, sisters, uncles, cousins, all of them. And we know. We are aware. And, and they come and they feel guilty about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not here to absolve your guilt. I'm not your priest. Right? This is not a confessional. This is a space where you become aware. Okay, so you're aware of that. You've participated in that system, whether it was actively or inactively, you supported it. What are you willing to do? Where's your repair? Where are you at with it? Because, okay, you feel this feeling. It doesn't feel good. You are aware now. What's the next step? Good morning, Melissa. Hi, Dixie Ann. So guilt avoids the work. Responsibility is the work, right? So it goes back to that, like I said, with the client. And it's like, okay, what's the work? right? What are we doing? Are you talking to these people? And you still need to be safe when you're doing the work. I'm not asking anybody to go out there and like go burn down the Klan meeting. I would not advise that. But what does that look like? And if you can't do it interpersonally, that's here, right? Like if you can't talk to these people, if it's going to make you unsafe in those sorts of ways, how are you dismantling it systemically? How are you talking truth to power? How are you saying, you know what? I'm not going to raise my children around this. I'm going to talk to their kids about it. You know, I'm gonna talk to my niece and nephew and be like, "Hey, that's not healthy. That's not real. That's not true." Right? And start providing some real solutions for dismantling these power systems within your own family. Right. If you know that that person is running the PTA, what are you doing to run against them? They should be not in that position of power, right? That's dismantling it systemically. That is exactly how we got here, right? We talked about through I think it was the September issue, was, the Gilded Age, and we were talking about Reconstruction. Reconstruction was not successful, right? Like, no, the Klan movement, all of the violence that happened removed the people that were actually there for the Reconstruction and put into power. It's why you see so many of our Congress, Senate, et cetera, have ties to the KKK. Yeah. That- the South rose again. We're watching it in real time. They finally got it. The Civil War never ended. It just nobody was shooting each other out in the fields. It carried on in a different style, in a different war, and now we are living in that currently. So then the responsibility comes with, how do you turn around and say, okay, I don't want to be stuck in guilt because Black people, Indigenous people have been talking about this forever. Like, surprise, surprise. But okay, shit, we didn't listen. And now we are here, and the snake is eating itself. What do we do? And how do we become actionable? Lefty says, we are still fighting the Civil War. We never punish the traitors. These are the sons of the Confederacy and the daughters. We are still fighting. Okay, that just came up there too. We are still fighting the Civil War. We never punish the traitors. They are the sons of the Confederacy. Yes. And the daughters, like the education platform, right? Like these are things to turn around. Oh, I feel guilty. The daughters of Confederacy wrote our school books. Okay, write new ones. Lobby the same way they did. They were insistent. They were not letting up in regard to, no, this is the way we want history to be told. They wanted to protect their men. Stand by your man. And they wanted to ensure the legacy of their fathers, sons, husbands, grandfathers was not tarnished. Right? That these men were fighting for their freedom and states' rights. And they gave a beautiful synopsis of horrible crimes against humanity. And they were successful in that. I want you to have the same tenacity as they did creating the system. I want you to have that same tenacity dismantling the system, right? Even if you come from those people, if you are descendants of those people, then muster up that same tenacity that they had and the audacity, right? You could do that. We must re-educate like Germany did after World War II. Yes. Like there was a huge and a continuous one where like that, oh my God, what an amazing example, right? That it happened. That is accountability. Like we cannot change what happened. And that is what the guilt gets stuck in, right? Like when you see the white people like, I'm not gonna be guilty about it. It happened, get over it. And it's like, no, okay. Not the same people with the never forget motto about every damn thing. You want us to get over it? No, never forget. Okay. We're not going to forget, but we can heal. Right? Nobody's asking anybody to turn around and be stuck in that. I don't want to say rebrand, but almost like a rebrand, thinking about it from a business model of Germany came with real deep work, real re-education, real amends, real reparations, real like admonishment. Like, no, this is not who we are. This was a terrible time in our history, and we are going to continuously do the repair work to ensure that true history is taught and to ensure that this never happens again. right? Never again means never again nowhere. And not for nothing, the United States is not operating on that model. So that is what we need to be working on, right? So the reflection that I offer here is, how was guilt used to control me or shut me down growing up? Ding! Because that's what it is, right? Even when you talk about accountability, last week when I was talking about the accountability, one of the readers was like, even reading that word was hard for me in my body, right? And this is why those somatics are so important, is to recognize what's going on in your body, because accountability has been framed in a harmful way in supremacy culture, right? And it's always this. You should be ashamed of doing this. You should feel guilty about it. And again, it freezes. And that begins in your childhood, right? Like we said, it begins in how we're parented. And parenting does not only happen in your home, parenting happens wherever there is an adult child dynamic, right? Because that is an oppressive setup inside of those hierarchies of whiteness. That is always going to happen. Wherever I go, as an adult and there are children in the vicinity, I am their natural oppressor. Like, that's how it's set up. That is what it is. And so then I get to turn around and take that responsibility that I have to them and show up in a better way. Show up in a way that allows them freedom, that allows them autonomy, that allows spaces for them to exist as whole, exact people. Like, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What are your inputs? Right. And I don't want them to feel guilty, especially if it's just something that's just a normal part of growing and learning. As adults, we make mistakes all the time, all the time, all the time. The difference is there's no one there to, unless we are in a situation, right? Like you mess up at work, there's a supervisor, and it's never restorative. It is, how did you not get this done? Why couldn't you get this done? And no regard to life, what's happening, what's going on with this person, no true care. Like, hey, what's going on and how can we fix it, right? Because yes, deadlines need to be met. That's understandable, right? We live in a capitalistic society. Deliverables need to be met because, again, we live in a capitalistic society. But how do we bring care into that space? Hey, Des, I noticed that you are behind on your articles and what's going on. Well, hey, this is what I've been doing, right? This is just me owning it, not excusing it. This is what I've been doing. This is why I'm behind, and I plan on catching up, and I will this week, right? And that gives grace and room for space. It's that simple. It is that simple. And if we release guilt for feeling bad, we could also ask people to come in, right? If I were working, let's say, not independently for myself, I could have a team. Hey, friend, team member, whatever. I'm a little bit behind this week. Do you think you could pick this up, right? That's collaborative work. Instead of those pillars of supremacy coming in saying that I'm the only one that could do this, I'm the only one that could do it right, individually feeling guilty. That is what you have teams for. That is what that is supposed to look like. That's reparative. That's community care and how it could still be applied in business, right? Without that guilt. But going back to how it was used growing up is going to be your key. Did you feel guilty about your existence? And we didn't make you feel guilty. Like, somebody started that very young, right? You couldn't speak loud. You couldn't play. You just felt guilty about having a good time, about being a kid. You just felt guilty about your own existence. You got to sit down with that and really pinpoint where that guilt comes up and how it freezes you and stops you from motion. Sue says collaborative rhythm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love collaborative rhythm. You're just giving me all the little tingles today. I appreciate you. The other reflection is, where am I replicating those patterns now? Right. And I don't want you to feel guilty about it. I want you to recognize it, become aware. Oh, shit. I am doing that. I am replicating that system because it was a system handed to me that I assumed that it is like normal, right? It's been normalized. Again, it's the water. Everybody's doing it. All the kids are doing it. So, you're down doing it too. What does that look like to turn around and say, oh my God, I've been replicating this. I'm doing the same exact thing. Okay, that's awareness. Now your responsibility is to respond. Oh, Sue says, I've been listening to you. Well, I appreciate it. I'm listening to you too, because if you notice, I have utilized that ability to respond a few times because I really like that. It feels empowering and very, very actionable. Third reflection that I offer in this same one is, what would responsibility look like in that same situation, right? So you're going to go through those reflections. How was guilt used to control me or shut me down growing up? How am I replicating those patterns now? And what would responsibility look like in that same situation? So it's shifting it, right? If you are sitting down and you recognize you are guilting your partner into not doing the dishes, does that feel familiar? Right? It's super programmed into us because it's the water. Like, what do you need? I'll give you a perfect example with my son the other day. He what the hell did he want? Oh, you guys know I love my crock pot. I have a three-piece crock pot, and I had made tacos in one, nacho dip in another, um, and something else in the middle. Can't remember. But anyway, he is like, I'm working, and I let them know I'm gonna be working today. And he's like, where's the food? In the bathroom. Where the hell do you think the food is, right? So we go through this whole thing. I'm like, where is this? Where is the food? Where do you think? Let's talk about it here. Where do you think the food is? And like, I don't know. Forget it. I just won't eat. Right now, if I allow that to happen, what's going to happen is he's going to grow up in a society, because again, it's water. He's going to grow up in a society that has allowed weaponized incompetence for male presenting people. I do not want that for him. I do not want that for any of his partners. And it's so disempowering. Like, I just don't want that for my kid. So I'm like, okay, check this out. Where do you think the food is? He's like, in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, where in the kitchen? He's like, in the crock pot. But which one is it? Okay. Did you lift up the lids? This is really simple. And then I sat down and I was like, oh, I know what's coming up. And this is my responsibility, right? Instead of guilting him, instead of doing the thing that has been done to us. I was like, I know what this is. I was like, one point in time, he wanted me to serve him some food, right? He was like, when you serve me the food, it feels like care. Right? Which I get that, because I'm the same person, right? Like, when somebody cooks for me and brings me food, I feel so deeply loved. It is ridiculous. I'm like, you want to feed me? You want to nourish me? Oh, I'm in love with you and you are in love with me. And I love that for us. So I asked him, I said, let's pause. Did you want me to serve you so you could feel loved and cared for? Because we also have a list here on how to love me, right? Like, literally, mine is trust. So we all have our own things on how we experience love from another person. That is one of his things. Kind of think about love languages, but for the family. So he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so next time, instead of us going through this rigmarole, like, and now I'm frustrated, I have to stop doing what I'm doing. We are going at it, basically. You just turn around and say, hey, mom, if the food is ready, when you get a chance, can you serve me? Because remember, that makes me feel cared for. Yeah, with joy, with glee. Now the entire energy has changed. And I was like, if that's what you needed, that I could provide. What I cannot provide is you acting like you don't know what damn food is. I got not, and I won't. I will not participate in that. But I will happily get up and serve you with joy, with glee, with an enthusiastic yes. Right. Because you are stating your needs, and I am happy to meet those needs. That is how you could break a simple cycle, right? I didn't want him to feel guilty about me having to stop work. I didn't want to feel guilty about not allowing him to fall into a societal plot of and weaponized incompetence. No, we move through those things. These are small little ways. So that's the responsibility that I took in that same situation, and did not choose to go the route of how I would have grown up feeling. And I did not want to replicate patterns. See what I'm saying? I try to give you some real life stuff going on. All right. Talking point 3. Hold on. I'm gonna sip. Good morning, John. So good. Great for the gut. Responsibility is not self blame. I'm gonna say that again. Responsibility is not self blame, it's self alignment, right? Coming back to self, aligning with self. These cats are insane. Insane. No, you're not coming over here. No. Okay. So accountability is not about shrinking, punishing, or proving you're good. Remember, we talked about that? It's going around again on Substack, my little clip where I was like, there are no good white people. And, they're talking about everything but what the hell I said in the whole conversation when I was talking about the harm that systemic issues cause to white bodied people and why it makes you a part of a problem without your consent. They did not want to hear that. They just want to argue with me and call me names and talk about my nose ring. So, responsibility is not self blame, it's self alignment. Accountability is not about shrinking, punishing, or proving you're good. Accountability is about becoming trustworthy, practicing repair, and choosing alignment over collapse. Okay? So, this is where the 3-step repair process comes in. Own it. I broke the egg. Do the work. Clean up the egg, practice a new choice, prepare for the next moment, right? So, like, if you could realize, well, you know what? I try to carry 20 eggs in a basket. Did you need that? Did you need that? Could you have grabbed 3? Is there a different way to do this? Lefty says, I'm guessing the names they called you weren't beautiful, bounteous, and wise. They were not, but I like those words. No, they were not. And I'm like, "Nah, okay. Like, if you want to talk about it and you want to unpack, I'm willing to do that with you. But like not wanting to. It's sad because it lacks just so much intelligence. Because I have no problem debating with somebody. I was on a debate team. You know what I mean? I can debate until the day is long, and I could walk away from something completely and utterly disagreeing, and I have no problem clarifying anything that I have said, even if it was activating, right? Even if it was something, hey, Des, what you said was harmful and it bothered me. And when you said it, this is what came up for me. Great. We have a starting point for a conversation. I would love to walk through that with you and let me fix that, right? Like give me the opportunity to repair with you. But calling me names is crazy. Calling me names is crazy online because it's something you would never be able to do in person. So it's a very wild, uh, the internet is a wild place. Good morning, Timothy. But thank you for those words. All right. So the 3-step repair process. Own it. I broke the egg. Do the work is cleaning up the egg. 3 is practicing a new choice, right? So responsibility is not saying, oh, I'm a bad person. Responsibility is I'm becoming a person. When we're talking about supremacy culture, we're talking about the stripping of humanity. Again, right? The separation from self, the separation from community, and the separation from land. The work of decolonization is a journey back. It is a return of the land, a return of culture, a return of humanity. So what you are is becoming a person. You're human. You're gonna fuck up. Take that breath. I am becoming a person. And that doesn't mean that you're going to mess up one time and then be perfect after you get some redirection. It means being able to know that you are going to fail so much. And are you willing to get up and do it again? Are you willing to fail? Are you willing to fail over and over and over again and do the repair, right? Failing absolutely allows us a learning space. Failing, being flawed, allows us the opportunity to do it better. I switch things around all the time. I talk to my son about this. I use my son a lot because he's very similar to me in many ways. And he has a fear of failing in so many ways. And I'm like, I'm successful because I failed so much. Like because I failed so much and I'm always willing to figure out how to do that better. Okay, that didn't work, right? Like, that's not gonna work. Okay, you know what? Like, I was popular on TikTok, and I think that I have too many nuanced conversations to be able to continue on because a conversation like this would be happening. Like, you see, how I respond to the comments. So, like, I literally would respond to my comments. Ah, yes, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You can never ever keep me down. Yes, Lisa, that one. But like I would respond to these comments like I did right now. And so people would be getting these parts. And rage bait is great for online. So people would get these parts of conversations and refuse to click on the comment and go all the way back to the beginning to get the full breadth of the conversation. It was becoming increasingly frustrated. And my intent was not to be a viral sensation. My intent was to create personal and systemic change. So I was like, this is not working anymore. Loved it, loved my time there. I met some amazing people that I am now, co-creating, collaborating with, like, Lady Speech, Kokai, which is Royal Star on there, Yolanda Williams from Parenting Decolonized. I met wonderful people there, created some friendships, but it just wasn't someplace that was going to be able to hold what I was trying to do. And so when you recognize, okay, even if it's a starting point, you start there and then you figure this is not working, let me do something else. And now let me do something else, right? So like I've been here on Substack for 2 years and it's like, okay, great. I want all of this housed, right? Because people are not going to go back 2 years, right? You'll find me today. You may not go back 2 years. Like, this is just not the society that is going to do that, right? Okay, so how do I take these and place them into a space? So, okay, let's put a container together. So, the Liberation Education Academy is coming. And this is what it means to, even if you're not failing, but it just needs to be done differently. I am doing that. Thank you, Timothy. I am actually Lisa's helping me with that. Because it doesn't export the way you think. And if you know a different way, uh I will try it. See, this is this right in real life. Like if it's not working the way we are doing it, Lisa has been helping me and doing it manually, literally like creating the link. Oh, you built your own website? Talk to me, Tim. I'm like, because that's what I'm doing with the Liberation Education Academy. So, yeah. And I'm going to archive all of the lessons that are here. So when you join the academy, you would just have like, here's this, here's this, here's this. It's all there at your own pace. But that is part of it, right? Like you can fail, or not even if it's not complete failure, if it's just no longer working again. That is part of being human, is evolving yourself, evolving your work, evolving your repair, evolving your relationships. So, ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Again, responsibility is not I'm a bad person. It's I'm becoming a person. Responsibility is the bridge between the harm and the healing. Okay? There's some harm here. We're getting to healing, and that is the bridge. Post-traumatic growth. Guys, what? You guys are on it today with the language in my brain. So the reflection that I offer here is, what does responsibility, not guilt, look like in my body? Right? What happens when you turn that feeling? Oh, I feel guilty. I feel bad. I'm feeling all of these feelings. What is coming up for you in your own body? And what does that shift look like? Come on, kitty cats. You guys go in and out, in and out, in and out. Come on. Good job. Cats are crazy in here. Okay. So, what does responsibility, not guilt, look like and feel like in my body? What nervous system pattern shows up when I've caused harm? Collapse, fight, freeze? What's going on, right? Oh, shit. I caused some harm. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, right? Like a lot of people get into that collapse. And that's what are we doing? Because now I gotta think about it. Like I said before, like, like the whole, I'm working on the catio, Lisa. Remember I showed you guys? It's the process. And I need to actually get somebody to build the roof. I can't physically do that. But hopefully, fingers crossed. The collapse, like we talked about last week, is like, like sometimes you could feel that physically, right? Like, that's what I mean in the body. It's like, oh, like I want to fold over. Somebody was talking about that, right? The freeze could be that tension. Your body is going to be your teacher, right? Like, right. And then that also goes back to your childhood. Why are you freezing? What is happening? If you messed up, what feedback did you receive from that? Like, so it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna freeze. Oh my God, this is scary. What's going on? Or do you want to fight about it? And a lot of people, we get that too, right? Like with the work that we do, a lot of us educators like that's not, well, like those are my answers. I'm not like, Like, calm down, take a breath. I'm not fighting you about this. You either want to do the work or you don't. Water's wet. I'm not about to argue. We're either going to do this work or we're not going to do the work. You absolutely get a choice in that. I am not going to force you or guilt you into doing it. You want to sit with it. You want to hold this for a second. You want to this made me uncomfortable, but I recognize the truth in it and we move forward. Cool. You want to argue and fight with me? I promise you that that's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that with you. So you got to check out what's happening with you in your own body because you're going to notice. And then when you recognize that pattern, you can shift that pattern. Then ask yourself, what is one small aligned action I can take in place of avoiding accountability? So again, if you feel that fight, oh shit, you know what? That's that pillar of defensiveness. Yep, yep, yep. And I'm making it about me. And that is the individualism that comes, and I want to defend it because I'm a good person and I'm not responsible for this and the other thing. I am fighting. The more language you learn about yourself, the more information you receive about yourself and what your body is teaching you. And you'll be like, mm, I see it. Okay, I see it. Oh God, I froze up. Oh, mm, my body is uncomfortable here. What information is happening? And that is what I want you to do when you're doing the work of anti oppression, when you're doing the work of personal liberation. I want you to pay attention to your body cues and what is coming up. It is always information, right? And supremacy culture lives in our head. It does not want us to live in our bodies, right? So you're going to keep running scenarios. You're going to keep doing the things. But if you really sink in deep and pay attention to your body, you are going to recognize your own nervous system patterns. You're going to recognize your own systems that you need to disrupt. And the more you disrupt your inner systems, guess what else you're going to do? Ding, 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 ding. Disrupt the outer systems. Inner world, outer world. Okay. Let us see as we're closing up. So, as we close up, I'm going to give you your 3 talking points yet again. 1, guilt feels like movement, but it's not. It's not, friends. It's not. These cats are in something right now. 2, supremacy culture uses guilt to maintain the status quo. Gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. Set it free. 3, responsibility is not self blame, it is self alignment. We are not looking for you to feel guilty, be self abusive, cause yourself harm. Just respond to something. So, as we close out, thank you guys for being here because you're so amazing, right? I want you to turn around, and this is your saying for the day. Responsibility is a return to yourself, not a punishment of yourself. Okay. I want you to think about it that way. It is a return to yourself, not a punishment of yourself. You are responsible for yourself, for your actions, how you show up. We are responsible to each other, not for each other. Okay. That is completely different. And 1,000 years, another lifetime ago, my therapist said that to me. And I was like, that was a paradigm shift that I needed. She was like, you're not responsible for others, but you are responsible to them. Right. And that is a huge difference. And it really helps break up the codependency that many of us have. I absolutely had codependent tendencies and felt responsible for people, right? Like, oh, I had to do these things for them. If without me, how could they do these things? And that's that only one right way. I'm the only one, all of these things. And when she said that, girl, I left that office like, I'm responsible to you. Right? This is my responsibility to the collective. I am responsible to you. I know something. I am responsible with sharing the things that I know. That is me being responsible to you. What I'm not responsible for is you logging on, you doing the work, you showing up. That's responsible for versus responsible to. I hope that frees you like it did me. All right. I'm out of here. I'm going to finish off my kombucha. And I have my work date and later on a tea party with Shady Baby. So thank you for being here. I will be back Wednesday. Do be prepared for, I think there's like another liberation lesson and what should have been today's article. So be prepared to have 2 extra articles this week so we could be caught up on the editorial calendar. And thank you, as always, for giving me grace to be human. I want to show up in real time in my actual humanity and show you guys what it looks like in real life. So I appreciate you dealing with that, supporting it, and loving me anyway. Bye.